who's going to charge first.
I know.
Go!
That was rude, and I'm sorry.
Hey, what's going on, everybody from Digital Doc Games? I am Digital Doc, and you are watching Game Changers. It's the show where we play a game with the people changing the game. Today, we are joined by Nikki Crenshaw. She's a user experience researcher at Blizzard Entertainment. Nikki leads Blizzard's accessibility initiative and is the creator of the Blizzard Accessibility Research Program. Today, though, she's here to play Nidhogg II, the fighting game in which players battle it out with the goal of reaching the other end of the player's screen. Nikki Crenshaw, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. Before we begin and dive into this crazy game, what is your experience with Nidhogg or fighting games, and how are you feeling about going head-to-head today?
So I have some friends who play fighting games. I remember playing Nidhogg I back in college with some friends, but I only recently got into Nidhogg II, so we'll see how today goes. It should be fun.
It's going to be the perfect blend of chaotic, and hopefully we'll be able to ask some somewhat intelligent questions as well. Are you ready to get rolling?
Yeah, sounds good.
The stomping is really,
I know, very intense.
Very intense. Really just adds insult to injury there. I keep trying to jump over you, and it's not really working.
Can I jump on this thing?
Yeah.
Oh, I can.
Well done.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. Look at that fancy footwork there. There you go. That was a nice bow and arrow. All right.
There's like a little bit of a charge up time, it seems
That's
like.
right. Yeah.
Oh,
yes. So while I have the lead here. Nikki, you're a self-proclaimed huge research geek and believe good research in games humanizes the player experience. Do you recall a specific player experience that really turned on a light for you and helped lead to a better game?
Oh, man. So I think some of the biggest stuff there for what I've done in research has been accessibility research. I think a lot of times when people think about UX, they think about their own experience, right? If you're a game designer, you're probably also a game player. And so you can kind of think from that perspective of, what would I do in this game? What would I do in this scenario?
Mm-hmm.
And for accessibility research, generally you're having to think about something that is not your average dev's lived experience. So in particular, I think one that was really impactful for my team and for me just seeing how the reactions to it was doing user research with blind players and having them show me their kind of setups and talk through what using a screen reader was like. And if you're used to using screen readers, sort of in the same way for folks who are used to listening to audiobooks and things like that, you turn the speed up pretty high. And so our first player who got into a session was like, oh, let me just mess with something really quick. And his screen reader was running naturally and it was unintelligible.
Right.
And I remember my devs and this was remote, but we had an observation room on Slack and people were like, what's happening? The audio's bugged, something's going on. And I was like, no, this is normal. This is, how he normally interacts with his games. And after that session, people were like, this is completely changing the way that I think about sound design, about how I think about intelligible sound. And, that was really mind-blowing for them. So I think that's part of what is so cool about being able to bring players in, is because when you see those players who have very different lived experiences from what you're used to, it can be really eye-opening and really change the way that you think about something. And that's something that I love being able to do through research, is just showing, how did I win?
It was a final duel there because we made the time limit so low. I was about to head in there.
I know you were almost there. I was like, this is it. He wins.
Game wouldn't allow it. So Nikki, your dissertation at UC Irvine focused on how changing game rule sets and designs affect player behavior in cultural ideologies and communities. How do you think the current landscape in games, largely dominated by ever-changing ongoing games as a service like Destiny or Fortnite, have changed how people socialize and find community in games today?
Oh, another big question. I think game design is not the only factor. I think that that's a part, the way that we design things give different affordances to allow players to interact or not interact in certain ways. But I think another part that was really difficult for folks to overcome is just, like you said, the way that the gaming landscape has changed and the way that we think about games and how we engage with games.
Right.
It's tough. I think another factor of this is a lot of people talk about,
torturing me.
Oh, I didn't realize. I'm so sorry. Just keep you on the end of my brain.
I know. Oh, we got our final duel here. What do I have?
Okay, here we go.
Sword? Okay. Yeah. Who's gonna charge first? Go!
That was rude, and I'm sorry.
I had that plan
The
from the
disrespect.
Oh man. But I think it's so interesting because I'd never really thought of it in this way, but it's a huge responsibility from the developer's point of view when they make these changes. Like, these games almost serve as, especially the massive multiplayer online ones, as homes for players. And it's like, you're changing my home. And I could see how that could almost be like a personal offense or an offense to your community.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that's like when I was studying Nostalrius, like I said, there was no alternative available, through legal official means. And I think that's part of, I was so excited when Blizzard announced that they were doing classic servers because it did give people that option. If you did want to go back and try to relive that experience, or maybe go live it for the first time. I know when I went and played Classic, we had, a 13-year-old in the guild, and I was like, it's just like the old days,
They actually
and it was like,
put those 13-year-olds in the game, so it would
right.
be authentic.
The true experience. But and it's like, okay, this kid was barely even alive when the game first came out, so they were never going to be able to play it. And the way that the game has changed over the years, they could never experience some of these zones as they were back in the day. So I'm stoked that now there's different things that are available for people to engage with the game the way that they want to. But I think just the game design alone is not going to give that authentic experience. You can't actually go back in time. You can't go back to when you had so much free time and WoW was the only game that you played and you spent hours every day in there. It's just the landscape of gaming has changed.
Nikki, you once were mind controlled in World of Warcraft, and it had ended up becoming real life friends with another player and the enemy faction. What was the most unexpected World of Warcraft relationship that blossomed into a real life relationship?
Oh man, that's tough. I have a lot of friendships that started on World of Warcraft that are still real life friendships. I mean, I think honestly, that mind control scenario was what led to me meeting my guild horde side. I faction swapped after that interaction.
Yeah.
That was also
that was like a really good friendship. So
yeah.
You gave up all your allegiances. You're like, I'm doing it. I'm headed to the horde.
Yeah, and it's funny because the player that I met, the player who mind controlled me and kind of got me to come over, wow, you're so fast.
I know. I was like, don't question it, just keep going. There you go.
But yeah, I actually didn't end up interacting with him too much, but I stayed in touch with that guild. So I was in high school at the time, and I played with those people basically every day. They were my main group of friends outside of my actual high school. And it's like, this is a group of people that I sure as hell would not have met were it not for World of Warcraft.
That's such a cool story. And the neat thing there is this game meant so much to you, and it's so responsible for so many real life friendships now that you have. And you actually got to then work on that game professionally. Did you ever, was there ever a part of you as a kid or as an undergrad that you somewhere deep inside you felt like, I don't know how, but somehow I'll end up there? Or did it just come right out of the blue?
Yeah, like not at all. I've always loved games growing up. I played with my dad and my brother and my mom, constantly. I never thought I would be in game development because I didn't want to learn programming. And I was like, that's it. You either have to do art or you have to do coding. And like, those are kind of the ways that you get design. And I'm doing psychology, which I wasn't totally sure about either. I was like, I like people, so I guess we'll do this. But I was like, yeah, you don't have psychologists at a game company. That's not a thing that exists.
Yeah.
And so I never once thought I would be able to work at a game company. I never thought that Blizzard would be the company that I ended up at.
No.
And I think the first time I saw somebody that I was like, oh my God, that could be me. I was working at Xerox PARC, and there was two guys there, Nikki and Nick Ducheneau, who had a government grant studying player behavior in World of Warcraft. And this was
all the Nicks.
Yeah, I know. And so my manager introduced me. She's like, we're completing the Nick Triforce with the
right.
Nikki piece.
That's right. If you're all in one room for too long, something might implode. Oh no.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Hold on.
Okay, final.
Pause everything.
Wow, this is an intense.
Now, I'm not going to let you just
stage.
throw your sword at me again, okay?
I have to keep moving. Let's see. Can we do it?
Oh!
No! There it is. The win.
Woo! Good match. But yeah, the Nikki Triforce was complete.
Yeah, and I was like, oh my God, they're getting paid to study people who play games. This is, the game that I had been most involved in, but that this was a real thing that people were interested in, and that was the first time I'd ever seen that. And I was 21 at that point, so I didn't even know my current career existed until 2 decades into my lifetime. I'm surprised. I was like, man, I feel like we're gonna have to pay attention so hard for Nidhogg, but it's just the right amount of.
Well, you get that advantage in the beginning when I'm asking my question, and then I get the advantage for the whole rest of the game. So I
know I realized that, and I was like, should I wait for him?
Oh, I can tell.
Nice?
Oh, I can tell. I can tell your mercy beginning. It's okay. We'll all even out. I'm like, should I say something? I know she's going easy on me. Oh man, right in the water.
There you go.
Well, this is a quick one, at least question, which is, do you have a favorite memory playing games like Diablo 2 or Tomb Raider with your dad growing up?
Oh my gosh, yes. So in the house that I grew up in, my dad had an office, and he set it up so that my brother and I could have computers in there with him. So when we would play games together, it would be the three of us all set up in this tiny room playing together. And that was the hangout space. So my mom would come in and hang out with us. She played more Nintendo stuff with us. So
right, Schmom.
Yeah, Schmom,
right.
Which all her Pokemon Go friends know her as, which cracks me up.
That's amazing.
So when I was a kid, we would all post up. It's okay, it's Diablo 2 night, or it's Neverwinter Nights night. And we would all hang out in there, and I would go make us tea and a snack plate and bring it all in as a 10-year-old or whatever. And
dinner is served.
And we would just hang out and snack and play games all night.
That's so cool. That's cool that these games get to live on and you get to do that. This game, the real enemy that we really should just join forces to defeat are these little gaps between the platforms.
I know.
They have. There you go again. I have fallen into them so many times. That's the crazy. I mean, we have the 5-minute time limit on these games, but if you go, you could be stuck in a game for 30 minutes. It's just back and forth and back and forth. We're gonna get down to Final Destination here, or Final Combat. This is the time for strategy.
No, okay, wait, turn around. Oh, we can't turn around. I was gonna say.
No, you know what? Let's go. That was a very fitting end to this match.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, the true winner. The ice blocks.
Nikki, from Mad Max's Furiosa to Wednesday Addams, Halloween seems like it was invented purely for you. What has been the most fun role you have taken on, and has there ever been a time where someone has been caught off guard by one of your outfits?
Oh my God. I have to say, I think one of my favorites was I really wanted to be Yoshi when I was a kid. And it was not during a time when gaming was as popular as it is now, so we couldn't just go to the store and get me a Yoshi costume. So my dad, who is very crafty, helped me helped me. He made a Yoshi costume for me. So we found like a green leotard, we got some felt, we got little styrofoam eggs, and he spray painted them and attached them on like a fishing line so they would like bounce behind me and stuff.
That's awesome. The attention to detail there.
Oh yeah, it was. I mean, he goes hard, right? He helped me with the Furiosa costume too. So the arm was all him. I did the fabric stuff. But yeah, it was like, so I was so stoked on this Yoshi outfit.
I'm sure.
And no house I trick-or-treated at knew what the hell I was. They're like, you're a dinosaur
with some things behind you.
With weird eggs. Because I had my little like Yoshi, the tail and stuff with this little saddle, and people were just like, yeah, and I was like, I'm Yoshi, and that did not help at all. So yeah, that was probably one of my favorite ones.
Nicole Lamerix once wrote, "Cosplay does not just fictionalize everyday life and give it an aesthetic dimension. It also shows how the fictional shapes the actual." How has inhabiting the characters that you cosplay shaped you who you are today?
I've definitely taken my love of, this is a good start. I've definitely taken my love of costumes into my my everyday life. So one of the core values at Blizzard is embrace your inner geek, and I feel like that is truly lived by. When I come to work, when I went to work, I would show up in stuff that I think toes the line between normal clothing and costume. Hello?
Yeah,
oh, it is.
I also, yeah. Oh, you still got it.
And so like my normal clothes have a lot of things that I got from the Renaissance Fair in them, weird, ginormous goth boots. And so I don't know that there's ever a moment that I go out of the house when I'm not partially in costume to some degree.
You're always cosplaying.
Yeah. And that's just who I am now. I joke with my friends that my final form is to become a Dark Souls boss. Like that's just going to be my natural state of being. And I love it. Like I think it's fun. I think life is too short to not spend it enjoying what you're wearing. Oh, you got past me.
It's all about that jump there. I keep trying to do the jump over and then, like the sneak attack from behind.
Oh, yeah.
It's got like a 30% hit rate, I'd say. A final form.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I mean, I love fashion. And I love when friends of mine get excited about stuff. They're like, wow, I like didn't even think about that as being something that I could wear out of the house. And I'm like, yeah, why not? Like, as long as you rock it and are confident in it and it makes you feel good. That was the ultimate snipe.
So close. That was beautiful. That was like almost like bullet time, Matrix style.
Yeah.
Tried to get my inner Neo, but that's really nice. But yeah, I think that's so cool and how fun that you get to unleash that again at Blizzard.
Yeah, I was so nervous. Yeah, when I was doing the job search, because I did it in grad school too. I'm showing up in full goth. I had students of mine who were like, one of my things I look forward to most in your class is just seeing what the hell you're going to be wearing. Like, oh, today she's got feather pauldrons on. All right, that's great. And I was like, I am going to have to go into the corporate world or academia. I wasn't totally sure what was going to shake out. And am I going to have to tone myself down? And I actually this was another clutch Bonnie Nardi advice directing me in my life. I was going to go for an interview at a university. Yeah. And at the time my hair was blue and I was keeping it buzzed. So, you sneaky,
I don't even know what happened
hiding.
Yeah. That was all the pipe, honestly. You still got there.
Okay, we're almost there.
Not quite.
But yeah, so I was like, well, my hair is long enough that if I buzz it again, I'll have my natural hair color, and it's probably more normal to just have buzzed brown hair than it is to have kind of fuzzy blue hair. Maybe I should do that to prepare for the interview. And she was like, why? And I was like, because it's more professional.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, if they're not going to hire you because you have blue hair, you don't want to work there anyway.
Right.
Yep. And I thought that was great. And so I feel very fortunate that I am somewhere that I can be my true, nerdy, funky, weird self, and that's celebrated. And I just wish more places took that to heart, because if the battle you're going to fight with your employees is what you're wearing to work, that's a waste of time.
Right. The battle you should be fighting is inside a slug sewer to get eaten by the slug monster, which maybe this could be that final form.
Oh yeah, that's honestly ideal. Yeah, aesthetic goals, Nidhogg.
Right, and you'll showing up to work every day as the slug monster.
as a big slimy worm.
I have one final question for you, Nikki, before we wrap things up. And that is that a lot of things have been brought to the light this year about some adverse inner workings at Activision and Activision Blizzard. You are in a unique position as you have your ear to the players of Blizzard games. What can we do as players to evoke change when the games we love were created under turbulent circumstances?
Complex.
We saved the big one.
The spicy one for the end. For no Nidhogg play, so I can truly focus. That's right. I think supporting the devs, because there's behind all of this, we hear stories and stuff, and there are people who are working tirelessly to try and make this stuff better. I have never felt more connected to my coworkers than I have over the last year or so, where we've been able to talk about this stuff and share stories and, come together to fight for what we believe is right in this space. And it's a bummer when all of that is going on and you see an announcement that you're like, I know so many people worked tirelessly on this, and it's just overshadowed by chaos, right? So I don't think anybody has to feel guilty for still enjoying games. There are still real human beings who also care about the stuff and are also frustrated like you are, working on these things and trying to still make them the best games possible for the players. I don't think that whatever your decision is in this space, right? If you decide to keep playing the game, don't feel guilty. If you decide to stop playing the game, don't feel guilty. Do what you think is right. And as employees, we are going to keep fighting for whatever we can do internally to make this a better space, and hopefully build back trust in our players that we can continue to make things that surprise and delight all of you in an environment that's better for all of us.
Well, with that, Nikki, thank you. We did it. We have survived the Nidhogg II chaos. How do you feel?
High five. Yeah, it was great. Thanks for introducing me to this, because this was a very fun gaming experience.
Please let us know what you have going on in your life right now. What should people go check out, and where can they follow you?
So I'm on Twitter as @Gaiazelle, GAIAZELLE. Right now, I am currently, like I said, I just picked up Witchwood, so I'm very excited to get into that. I am eagerly awaiting Rune Factory 5 coming out in March. And I have a feeling that I will be creeping some friends' Elden Ring streams come February to see what all the hype is about and see our little favorite pot boy. So that's what's on my horizon.
Amazing. Well, thank you, Nikki, for being here, and thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please do drop a like, a comment, and subscribe to Digital Games. See you next time.